Hello, this is Walt Smith on BlueMoonRisingTV. Now, I don't know about you, but I need a bit of positivity injected into my City world this week. So without further ado, let's have a look at some of those comments. Robert, 593. Well-deserved win for Liverpool. Friend, it's hard to argue with that. I'd be the first to offer my congratulations to Liverpool Football Club on a great victory for them. Sometimes, in football, just as in life, you have to hold your hands up and say, we got what we deserved. After we've had time for the result to actually sink in, what can we actually take from it? One of the pluses, I suppose, was Pellegrini was most unhappy about it. And if one man can put it right, like he has done before, my money's on Pellegrini at the moment. When we got beat 4-1 last season, Pellegrini and Manchester City ended up going on the best ever run for City ever. We have to actually dust ourselves off as a fan base and as a team, and we've got to ask ourselves what went wrong, and then we've got to start putting it right. It was absolutely wonderful to see Aguero back in the team and scoring. Delph, fair play to him, he actually looked quality in the middle of the park as well. Hart, despite conceding those goals, he's still top draw for me. In an ideal world, none of that back four would have started for me. Let's face it, folks, it showed. What I would urge all Blues to do is actually look at the bigger picture. When United actually last won the league, Liverpool rolled up at Old Trafford and won. Yeah, you got it right, folks. 4-1. Do you think United fans actually cared when they lifted the Premier League trophy in May that they'd lost the game earlier to Liverpool? I think not. All clubs actually lose games during the season. That's football. But for me, it's how a team reacts to losing that's more important and shows real character. Less knee-jerk and a more methodical approach, what I feel will still see us crowned champions in May. Liverpool, well, they can have their day as long as Manchester City have their year. Then I'll be happy. Imani, no one be. Man City, blah, 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 blah. Oh, the only true English teams are Man United, Arsenal, Liverpool and Leeds. What I would like to do is, let's look at the evidence and start to pull this statement truly apart. We look at Leeds, the truly English club. Who owns them? Yes, folks, it's an Italian. I think of some of the famous Leeds players in my lifetime. Johnny Giles, Billy Bremner, Gordon Strachan, Gary McAllister, Gary Speed, Tony Yeboah. That's right, not an Englishman among them. Next, Liverpool. Truly English? Well, they're owned by Americans. I think of some famous Liverpool players. Suarez, Alan Hansen, Graham Souness, Kenny Dalglish, Bruce Grobbelaar, Torres. For a truly English team, well, that's a lot of non-English players. Next, Arsenal, owned by a Russian and an American. That's not a cup of tea. Some crown green bowls with the vicar on a Sunday afternoon. Surely is it? I look at some Arsenal legends and fine players, to be honest. Who've we got? Thierry Henry, Liam Brady, Frank McClintock, Patrick Vieira, Dennis Bergkamp, and yeah, not an Englishman amongst them either. Then we've got a Manny's team, Manchester United. And guess who they're owned by? Got it right, Americans. I think of their best players. Georgie Best, Peter Schmeichel, Dennis Law, Eric Cantona, Dennis Irwin, Roy Keane, Ronaldo. Not an Englishman amongst them either. The very fact that all those teams you actually mentioned aren't owned or managed by an English person just shows you the stupidity of that complete statement. Mate, sorry to break this to you, but it's 2015 and the Premier League attracts, well, talent from all over the globe, whether that's players or managers. The last team to actually win the title in England, well, with 11 English players, that's right, it was Manchester City, and the year was 1968. Times have moved on, my friend. Irish Red, a Liverpool fan. Manchester City are a waste of a European Cup space. What's the point of even them being there? The very fact that you call it the European Cup just shows how steeped in history you actually are, my friend. All I'm saying to you is the rules are quite clearly in place. You've got to finish top 3 if you want to be in the Champions League, and 4th place, well, for the qualifiers. If we actually look through the last few seasons of Manchester City in the Champions League, it's nowhere near as bad as some other fans, well, would have you believe. We're actually through to the final 16 this year, what, 2 games to go? And this is despite it actually being dubbed the Group of Death. Standard issue for City. The previous 2 years, we've actually gone out against, well, Barcelona, and we could have been the second best team in Europe for all they cared, and would have still gone out. Barca last year, for me, were the pinnacle of football that I've actually witnessed live, and they actually went on to win the competition. Being in the Champions League offer loads of perks for City. I mean, they're able to attract quality players from all over the globe. Now, before you go off on one about Saturday's result, I like to judge a player over season, not a one-off game. Aguero, Silva, De Bruyne, they all joined City, well, for Champions League football. Maybe you've got a formula inside your head that would actually choose different teams. And I feel, in a strange coincidental kind of way, that'd mean Liverpool qualifying for the Champions League in your head every single year. But pal, that's not the real world. Irish Red, what do you actually suggest that we do? Tiddlywinks, rock, paper, scissors, or just put names in a hat? In the last few years, we've actually beaten Bayern Munich twice, and we've had some absolute magical nights at the Etihad. With all that extra revenue that brings in, and the prestige of actually being in that tournament. Before you're too quick to condemn us, you actually have to look at, well, the last time Liverpool were in the Champions League, Basel qualified above you. So that about sums up another week of Walter's Glass Half Full. Now, if you need a bit of positivity injected into your world, well, what are you waiting for? Get tapping below. I'll get back to you. Oh, time for another.